Let us seize this moment and make the most of this incredible opportunity for national renewal.
President Donald Trump signed a new executive order on March 6 that professes to protect the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. A memorandum was issued for the new Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and Secretary of Homeland Security, who held a press conference the same day.
The executive order signed by the President earlier today, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States, is a vital measure for strengthening our national security. It is the President's solemn duty to protect the American people. And with this order, President Trump is exercising his rightful authority to keep our people safe. As threats to our security continue to evolve and change, common sense dictates that we continually reevaluate and reassess the systems we rely upon to protect our country. While no system can be made completely infallible, the American people can have high confidence we are identifying ways to improve the vetting process and thus keep terrorists from entering our country. To our allies and partners around the world, please understand this order is part of our ongoing efforts to eliminate vulnerabilities that radical Islamist terrorists can and will exploit for destructive ends. The State Department will coordinate with other federal agencies and implement these temporary restrictions in an orderly manner. Our embassies and consulates around the world will play an important role in making sure that our nation is as secure as it can be.
First, as President Trump noted in his address to Congress, the majority of people convicted in our courts for terrorism-related offenses since 9/11 came here from abroad. We also know that many people seeking to support or commit terrorist acts will try to enter through our refugee program. In fact, today more than 300 people, according to the FBI, who came here as refugees are under an FBI investigation today for potential terrorism-related activities. Like every nation, the United States has a right to control who enters our country and to keep out those who would do us harm. This executive order seeks to protect the American people as well as lawful immigrants by putting in place an enhanced screening and vetting process for visitors from 6 countries. 3 of these nations are state sponsors of terrorism. The other 3 have served as safe havens for terrorist countries where governments have lost control of their territory to terrorist groups like ISIL or Al-Qaeda and its affiliates. This increases the risk that people are admitted here from these countries may belong to terrorist groups or may have been radicalized by them. Second, the Department of Justice believes that this executive order, just as the first executive order, is a lawful and proper exercise of presidential authority. This Department of Justice will defend and enforce lawful orders of the President consistent with the core principles of our Constitution.
Today's executive order, which President Trump signed this morning, will make America more secure and address long overdue concerns about the security of our immigration system. We must undertake a rigorous review and are undertaking a rigorous review of our immigration vetting programs to increase our confidence in the decisions we make relative to visitors and immigrants that travel to the United States. We cannot risk the prospect of malevolent actors using our immigration system to take American lives. This executive order is prospective in nature. Its focus is on preventing the entry of new foreign nationals from the 6 designated countries. Accordingly, it is important to note that nothing in this executive order affects existing lawful permanent residents or persons with current authorization to enter our homeland. Unregulated, unvetted travel is not a universal privilege, especially when national security is at stake.
Hawaii officials responded in opposition to the new order. Attorney General Douglas Chin called it, quote, nothing more than Muslim Ban 2.0, and said his office is reviewing the new order before it decides what next steps may be necessary. Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz called Trump's order, quote, racist and counterproductive, and said it's a violation of American values that only damages our national security. while Senator Mazie Hirono took to the airwaves.
Well, he made some small changes, apparently, to the very sweeping travel ban that he issued earlier. I haven't studied all of the provisions of it, but it's still basically a Muslim ban. It's still a ban based on one's religion. And every time our country has targeted a minority group for discriminatory treatment, we have been proven to be very, very wrong, and the president is wrong in this instance.
What do you say to the Trump officials who argue most Muslims around the world are not affected by the ban? The largest Muslim country, for example, Indonesia, so many other large Muslim countries are not impacted. There are 6 Muslim majority countries that are impacted now, not the original 7.
Well, isn't that still a Muslim ban? Isn't it still a ban based on one's religion? So whether you're doing it with one country or several, it's still a Muslim ban, and I believe it is wrong.
Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard came out with her own statement, saying, quote, "We should not be putting in place a blanket ban of refugees, especially when we have actively been fueling the counterproductive regime change wars that have caused them to flee their homes."
Aloha.
The day before, Gabbard delivered the keynote address at the 10th annual Prophet Muhammad Day event at Rutgers University in New Jersey. The event was hosted by Muslims for Peace, and her speech was filmed by her office.
As we sit here in this beautiful hall on this great campus today, safe in New Jersey, these examples may seem extreme as we have this umbrella of religious freedom protecting us. But we've got to remember also that nowhere, not even here in the United States, are we immune to the poison of religious bigotry. Abraham Lincoln was attacked with accusations that he was not a Christian. When John F. Kennedy ran for president, his political opponents tried to foment religious bigotry against his Catholicism. When Barack Obama ran for president in 2007, people accused him of being a Muslim, as though somehow that would disqualify him from being president. When I first ran for Congress, my Republican opponent stated in a CNN interview that I shouldn't be allowed to serve in Congress because my Hindu religion, quote, doesn't align with the constitutional foundation of the U.S. government. Just last year, my Republican opponent stated that, quote, a vote for Tulsi is a vote for the devil because of my Hindu faith. The message in each of these situations was simple. You will be punished politically for being of the wrong religion. There's nothing more un-American than this. The only way to defeat this dark cloud of religious bigotry and hatred is when we stand together in the light of love. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So we must stand with people of all religions who are committed to pluralism and individual free choice. People like Mahmoud al-Asali, who was assassinated for courageously speaking out against ISIS' brutal treatment of Christians in Mosul. Khurram Zaki, a prominent Pakistani journalist and human rights activist who was assassinated because he was one of many Muslims courageously advocating for a pluralistic, tolerant, secular Pakistan. Kenyan Muslims who shielded Christians from attack by terrorists. Jewish and Christian leaders in Victoria, Texas, who opened their synagogues and churches to the Muslim community whose mosque had burned down. There are countless examples of love and courage by individuals and communities who embrace and live by these true spiritual principles of peace, love, mercy, and tolerance. These are people who are building coalitions, building bridges between communities made up of Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, atheists, secularists, and others who are risking their lives as they bravely cry out for for a peaceful, pluralistic society built on the bedrock of religious freedom. So the challenge for each and every one of us here is, will we elevate and empower these champions of peace and a pluralistic society? Will we do what is necessary to defeat the destructive, exclusivist ideology with one of love, aloha, and inclusiveness? Or will we stand by, shake our heads, and do nothing? We must act for the sake of our families, our communities, our country, and all of humanity. We must stand with these brave souls, these warriors for peace. Let us stand proudly as Americans, as defenders of our Constitution, as defenders of freedom, as defenders of peace, and as beacons of love. Let us be brave and forceful in standing up for each other's rights to live and worship freely. And let us not be afraid to say that whoever threatens that right for any one of us will have to face all of us together.